Tashidelek to all of you. So today I will teach the third session of the Dogen Shakil Papa's teaching on our Garland of Joel. So as always, first we need to develop the right motivation, and then we need to study the Dharma in general, and especially today we are studying this teaching. So first teaching of this session is to abandon the unfavorable conditions. For the benefit of others, the unfavorable condition of benefiting other is harmful action. Harmful action is the direct opposite of helping others or benefiting others. So Shakil Baba said, there are many beings who are relying on prince, human beings and other beings who are relying on the prince, and all are living beings, and all these living beings are equal. So while prince knows all these are equal, then to make few human beings happy for their own sake, if you killed horse or sheep or cows and make food and give to your queen or prince or ministers or generals, etc., then it is not the right thing to do. It is not action that is according to the Dharma. Because in one way you are making queens and ministers and others happy by giving them their favorite food or food that they wish to have. But from another side, for their food, one is killing animals, taking lives of animals. Animals are losing their lives for food. So killing these animals is negative action, and as a result of this, one will be born in the hell realms, and such action will only ripen on yourself, not on others. So killing means one who actually kills the animals, or one who orders to kill them. So the act of killing will be committed not only by the one who really kills, but also it will be committed by the one who orders to kill. Because normally negative actions or virtuous deeds is the person who did or who rejoices or who orders. All these are one who performed the deed or one who really committed the deed, whether it's good or bad. So according to the teaching, Shakya Baba said, do not kill these innocent people for food and for making few people happy. So this is not right. Such action of killing is cause of being born in the hell realm, so one should abandon such action. And then Sheikh Al-Haba said, without harming others, one can make one's own family members or ministers and others happy without harming any beings, such as singing, dancing, music, and inviting comedians, etc. So by these, it can make others happy. And also at the same time, it won't harm anybody. So one should arrange such sensually delightful activities. So one should organize such event in order to remove the sadness of your guest. So occasionally one can do these things, but not all the time. If one does these things all the time, then one is so distracted, and then that is not according to the Dharma or according to the worldly good conduct. And there are some who used to do bad actions, and for their temporary happiness, they do hunting or fishing or letting like two animals to fight each other, like two small or big animals to fight each other, so they can enjoy watching it. These things can make them happy, but these things are harming others, harming these innocent animals. So such thing has no great meaning. So these actions can cause more and more suffering. Not only it can cause unhappiness in this life, but also it can cause to experience the suffering of hell realms in the future. So the prince should know this. Prince should know this and should not do any harmful actions just to make prince himself or others to be happy. So by doing this, then by abandoning these unfavorable condition or harmful action, then it makes oneself happy and others happy, making all happy. So now, if we put these teachings into action, into our daily life, if we implement these in our daily life, then it means we should not kill others to enjoy our food. And also, we should not let others to fight against each other to enjoy watching it or to feel happy. So there are many things that can make us happy without harming others. So one should adopt these things and not something that can or that will harm others. So we should keep this in mind and try to follow this as much as possible. By following this kind of advice, by following these guidelines, it really can help us. It really can make us happy in this life as well as in our future lives. And also, J.K. Prabhupada said, sometimes oneself does the harmful action, like stealing others or snatching others' wealth and beating others, fighting with others, etc. While doing these harmful actions, then if the victims, if they use harsh words in reply, then oneself cannot bear. Actually, it is oneself who initiate these actions to the victims. But if victims use harsh words in reply, then one cannot bear. If one cannot bear such things which is caused by oneself is not the innocent. Oneself is the one that does the harmful action, and oneself cannot bear their harsh words. Then why we need to kill these like animals such as deer or others like fish, etc. So these deer or fish and others, they did not cause any harm to oneself. They are really very innocent. But if we try to kill them for fun, for joy, then it is not right. If we kill them, if we kill these innocent for one's own joy, then it is not right. So therefore, if we really wish to gain happiness, then one should not one should abandon these kind of harmful actions. And now Chaitanya Prabhupada summarized the meaning by saying, if oneself shows loving kindness and compassion to others, then they will admire us, they will pay respect to us. And also, if we look after them, if we care them, then they will worship us. And also, if we use pleasant speech for them, then they will praise us. This is the nature. So similarly, for the sake of all the sentient beings, one wishes to attain Buddhahood, and for that purpose, if we practice loving kindness and compassion, and if we do actions that can benefit others, that can help others, then there's no need to mention that such action is virtue, such action is meritorious. Because not only that, even just to gain worldly results like wealth and others, for that also, if we need to show our love, etc., then no need to mention that we need to do these positive deeds for the sake of all the sentient beings. So therefore, in short, we must practice loving kindness and compassion to all the sentient beings without any exception. So this kind of action can help others and also can give us joy, can give us happiness in this life, and eventually it can give us the ultimate result or the Buddhahood for the sake of all the sentient beings. So main thing is to examine ourselves, whether we have a positive mind or not. We should examine ourselves. At the moment, normally what we do is we check others' attitude, we check others' behavior, whether they are good or bad, but normally we don't check ourselves. So what we need to do is we need to focus on checking oneself, whether our mind is under the control of positive or under the control of negative. If it is under the control of positive, then we should feel happy and we should rejoice and we should try to maintain this positive mind and try to improve this positive mind. And if we have negative mind, then as soon as negative mind or thought arise in our mental continuum, we should try to abandon, we should try to remove it, we should try to eliminate it. If not, then we should try to reduce it, we should try to control it. So negative mind is in our mind. We can say like negative mind is staying in our mind. So negative mind is like our guest. But this guest, no matter how good we treat this guest will always harm in return. Normally, if we invite outside guests and if we treat them well, then they will also treat us in a positive way. But this negative mind, no matter how long they stay in our mind, like not only for this life but for eons or from beginningless time up until now, no matter how much life that we change, but still they are always with us. They always remain as our guests. So they are here for so long time, but still they try to harm us. As long as they stay, they will only harm us. This negative mind will not make us happy, not give us joy in this life or in the future lives. This mind, this negative mind as a guest, will always try to give us more and more suffering and try to give us greater suffering or the greatest suffering, which is the suffering of hell realms. So therefore, the most important thing is to control our mind, try to reduce our negative thoughts, try to subdue our own negative mind. Whether we have this negative mind or not, we can check ourselves. If others are doing very good, if others are performing virtuous deeds or good deeds, because they did the virtuous deeds, if we have jealousy thought, then it means our mind has lots of negative thoughts, because we cannot feel happy, we cannot appreciate, we cannot rejoice in others' good deeds. So that means our mind is having lots of negative thoughts. So if others are doing good, then we should rejoice it, support it, appreciate it, and try to do the same thing for oneself, for the sake of all the beings. Then it means we can do more and more positive things. So it is important to check our own. Many of the times we even don't notice that we have these and these negative thoughts, or we even don't notice that we are doing such and such negative actions. So it is very important to examine ourselves and be mindful, be vigilant, and it's important to have the alertness so that we can be a better person. We can be a better spiritual person. Positive mind is the most important thing that we can have. If we have positive mind, then based on positive mind, if we pray and supplicate to the Guru, to our root Guru, then we can receive the blessing. We can only receive the blessing on our positive mind, not on anger. Based on our anger, we cannot receive our root Guru's blessing. That's for sure. We cannot receive our root Guru's blessing on our jealousy thoughts or any negative thoughts. For example, one cannot plant a seed on a flat stone. To plant a seed, we need a fertile ground. We cannot plant a seed where there are lots of stones or lots of pebbles, or we cannot plant a seed on a flat, giant stone. So similarly, we cannot receive blessings on our anger, on our negative thoughts. And also, if you don't have the positive thought, then there's no way to help others. There's no way to make ourselves and others happy. So therefore, the most important thing is to have the positive mind. If we have the positive mind, based on that, we can follow our root Guru's advice, our great spiritual master's advice, and our Buddha's advice, and we can practice it, and we can gain more and more realizations, and we can reduce our negative thoughts, we can control our negative thoughts, and through this way, we can make others happy in this life as well as in their future lifetimes. So therefore, having the positive thought, especially like to have the loving kindness and compassion, or to have the altruistic thought or bodhicitta. Here, this is a worldly advice, so here we don't talk about the bodhicitta, so here we just talk about loving kindness, compassion, and altruistic thoughts. So through this way, we can make happy. Now, the next subject. Chögyam Prabhupada said, if one wish to increase our lifespan, increase our wealth, and increase our dharma, then one should bear the hardship through our body and speech. And without doing this hardship, if you just enjoy the life, if you just want to have pleasure or mundane happiness, then without doing anything, just enjoying the life, just having fun with this life, then it will not increase our lifespan or wealth or dharma. So, because these just enjoying life without doing anything can shorten our lifespan, can decrease our wealth, and can increase our non-virtues. So therefore, in order to increase our lifespan, wealth, and dharma, we need to bear the hardship. So the prince should emphasize on this. So it means one should not just waste this human life, this precious life, just by enjoying it without doing any meaningful actions. If you just enjoy this life without doing any meaningful deeds, then it is not right. It can decrease the lifespan, etc. So instead of that, one should bear the hardship and do meaningful actions, purposeful actions, so that it can increase our lifespan and our wealth and also our dharma. And also, this kingdom and your wealth can protect and look after your own people. And these people or these subjects, these followers, will protect their own body. And then by protecting their own body, they can also protect yourself, and also through this way, it can protect our wealth, our supporters, our followers, our body, our life. And by these things, one can protect our dharma, one's own dharma. So one should know this and implement this. So what Sojam Prabhupada is saying is, we should use our wealth to help others. If we use all the wealth just to enjoy our own life without sharing it, without using it for others, then it is not right. So we should make us happy and others happy by sharing the wealth and by arranging good facilities or good food and housing for others also. By doing this, by having good food for your followers, then it can protect their own body, and also they will feel happy to have such a good king or prince, and they will have sincere loyalty to us, to the prince, and then also they will protect the prince. And through this way, there's a respect to each other. The prince respect them, then they respect prince, and they have positive thoughts towards each other. They don't have hatred toward each other. They like each other. They have loving kindness to each other, and they have compassion to each other. So, and they have altruistic thought towards each other. So through this way, one also protects the Dharma. So by knowing this, the prince should implement this in his daily life. Actually, all these are worldly advice which we should adopt in our daily life. So if we think the advice is very precious, and this advice is just to study and just to know. And our action is something that is different from this advice, then it is not right. To make this advice precious, to make this advice valuable, we must use it. We must use this great advice in our daily life. By using it in our daily life, then it makes us happy. It makes us a better person, a better human being. So actually there are many things that we need in our life, but most important thing that we need is the positive thought. The positive thought that we have can really make a great impact in our life, and also can make impact on others' lives, and also it can make impacts on our next lives. So therefore, all these advice are based on positive thought. And now, the next one, Chaitanya Prabhupada said, to do spiritual activities or dharmic activities, sometimes one cannot accomplish these great activities, and at that time the prince should not feel discouraged. Sometimes when one is doing great dharmic activities or worldly activities, it cannot be accomplished in a short time, or it can have some obstacles. So at that time, the prince should not feel discouraged. For example, Chaitanya Prabhupada gave two examples. The first example is the business person. The business person, when they do business, sometimes they can make lots of profit, and sometimes they will not make profit, they will lose money. So when they lose money, like for one time or a few times, then they will not stop there. They will continue to do their business, and by continuing their business, then at the end they can make lots of profit. And also, like the second example is farmers. Farmers, when they plant seed in the fertile ground, and sometimes if the rain falls at the right time, then there's good crops. But sometimes the rain did not fall at the right time, then there's no crops. So some years or 1 year, if they don't have good crops, then these farmers will not stop farming it. They will continue to do it in the next year. And by continuing it, they can have good crops in the future. So these business person and these farmers will not feel discouraged by having one bad year or a few bad years. They will continue to do it. So similarly, when Prince is doing a great project, at that time one can face challenges, one can face problems, but one should not feel discouraged. One should continue it, and then eventually one can meet with great success. Because to accomplish a great project, one cannot accomplish all at one time. That's very difficult. So these great projects, to accomplish them, one needs time. Slowly, one can accomplish the hardest project, the hardest thing that one can achieve. The hardest thing can also be achieved through tolerance, through patience, and through great encouragement. So by doing this, then even these hardest things can be achieved. So one really need to work hard and should not feel discouraged. For this, Chögyam Papa gave another example, like the small ants. Many of these small ants, they all are united to build their own ant hills. These ants are very small in size, but the one that they are building is ant hill, which is thousands of times bigger than their own size. So even these small ants can have this kind of encouragement and can work hard, and through these gradually they can achieve the hardest thing that can the hardest goal, which is to build this kind of ant hill, which is huge for them. So if they can do it, then there's no reason why we cannot do or why we cannot achieve the hardest goal. If we have the perseverance and if we have the courage, then we can also do it. And then next, Chögyam Papa said, to accomplish great goals of holy and dharmic activities, even a single obstacle is a many, or even a single opposing factor is a great or is a many. For example, if one poisonous arrow can kill many deers, many innocent animals, so with one poisonous arrow can kill many. So similarly, one obstacle or one opposing factor is like a many that can create great obstacles. So then Chögyam Papa said, to accomplish good things, we need to do positive actions. For example, if we do positive action as many as atoms of the sands or atoms of the beaches or the beach that are near the ocean, that are at the end of the ocean, still is not many. So it means we can't say it's too many. No matter how much positive or how many positive thoughts that we have, still it's not too many. So it means there's no end to improve. We can improve as much as possible in our life. So similarly, no matter how big the kingdoms are, according to the kingdom, yourself becomes greater and greater. And by increasing it, then eventually one can become the emperor of the whole universe. So in short, it means there's no end to the positive thoughts. to the positive actions. There's not too many positive thoughts, or not too many. We should always improve, and we should always do more and more. We should always increase our positive thoughts. And then next is to conquer others. If we have, or if the prince have the skillful means, then you can also make your enemy as your friends, as your people. For example, wild elephant is difficult to tame, but through skillful means and through hook, if one can render these animals and if one renders these animals to be serviceable to us, just like this, one can make these enemies serviceable to us, or make them our own friends or our own people. If a good trainer, then if there's a good trainer, then that can make the wild elephant as his own helper or his own follower. Similarly, through skillful means, we should make our enemy as our friends, as our followers or people. And some might think one should defeat the enemies by beating them, by killing them, or in short, by doing these kind of wrathful actions. People might say that one can only defeat the enemies through wrathful actions or harmful actions to others, to the enemy. But in reality, through peaceful actions, through positive actions, one can pacify the external enemies. Actually, defeating enemy is not possible through anger, through killing. The more you kill, the more enemies will appear, will rise against you. So, therefore, the best way is to negotiate. The best way is to make friends. Best way is to practice loving kindness and compassion and practice altruistic thought. So in our life, we can talk about within one family also. Within one family, if one is beating or scolding one's own family members or one's own partners, then that is not the solution to make one's own family happy. That will make more and more problems that will cause more and more sufferings to the partner, because one is beating the partner, and also it can really cause big damage to one's own children. When they see this, when they see their father and mother are fighting and father is beating the mother or scolding the mother by father, then it can really damage the children's future. Due to this, the children get worried, children cannot study well, and if they don't study well, then it can really have big effect when they grow up. And also, while they are young, they cannot enjoy their childhood when they see these things. So it is very important to have this kind of skillful means. If one can tame, if a trainer can tame wild elephant, if a skillful person can tame external enemies, then through skillful means, why one family cannot stay in a harmony? There's no reason. So therefore, if all the family members can respect each other, can use their skillful means, then there's no reason to fight. There's no reason to quarrel. There's no reason to argue. And also, beating partners is a very, very bad thing. It is not a sign of a brave person. It's not a sign of brave. Of course not. So therefore, one should make the family happy through skillful means. So this is I think the essence of this advice. So in our daily life, we should make our family happy, and we should make our neighbors happy through skillful means, and we should make our colleagues happy through our skillful means, etc. So we should extend this skillful means to all the people that we meet or that we associate with. In the teaching also says, by doing wrathful actions like beating and others, then as a result of that, there will be more and more enemies. More and more enemies will rise as a result of beating them. For example, if we take one pebbles in a riverbank of a river, then more and more pebbles will appear, or we will find more and more pebbles or more and more stones. Similarly, the more we have the external enemy, the more we do harmful action towards the external enemy, the more enemies will appear. There will be more enemies will rise. So there's no end to this external enemy. If we kill one enemy, then more enemy will rise. Then more enemies will take revenge on us. So therefore, harmful action, harming others, is not the solution of defeating others. So therefore, similarly, beating your partner is not the solution. It's not the right solution. It's not the right way to solve the problem. So what we need is we need to have skillful means. We need to pay respect to each other. We need to have loving kindness and compassion and trust to each other. That can make our family happy and others happy. So the Chogyal Phaba is saying to the prince that you should know to extend loving kindness, or to extend your altruistic thoughts, or to extend your skillful means to your opponents, so that they can make your friend, they can become your friend, and also should not use harmful actions towards them. So this is Chogyal Phaba's advice. You should not defeat others through harmful actions, but you should tame them through skillful means, just like a good trainer can tame the wild animal, wild elephant, through skillful means. So through skillful means, if one can conquer others, or if one can control the others, then the more you control, the more stable your authority will be. So it is like building a house on a solid rock. If you build a house on a solid rock or on a solid foundation, then it means your house is very stable. So similarly, the more you control through skillful means, then it means it becomes stable. Your authority becomes more and more stable. Then next is to look after the kingdom and followers according to the Dharma. So the prince should look after these followers according to their own wish, according to the act of Dharma, according to the loving kindness and altruistic actions. So by doing good things, or you want look after them through positive actions, then they will feel happy in this life as well as in their next lives. So how to look after them according to the Dharma? Then the answer is one should practice loving kindness towards them, and one should use pleasant speech to them, and also one should give them rewards, give them titles according to the law and according to their work, and also use your own wealth to look after your own people. So through this way, then one is governing the kingdom through Dharma, or one is ruling the kingdom through Dharma. So if oneself makes them happy, makes your people happy, and if one makes them rich, if the prince can make his own people rich by having lots of wealth, then all this wealth becomes the wealth of the kingdom, your own wealth or wealth of the kingdom, because they are the followers, they are the subject of the kingdom, they are part of the kingdom. And so it becomes like the treasure of the kingdom. So it is the treasure of the kingdom. For example, the farmers, when they put lots of effort to plant, then the more effort that they put, the more result that they can get if all the conditions are right. Then they can gain more and more crops. So similarly, the more you put effort to govern, to rule your own kingdom, the more wealth you can have in your own kingdom. And now the next is how to give punishment to those who are doing something that is against the law and how to give reward to those who are doing good things. So the prince should look after all the followers, all the people equally without discrimination or exception. And those who are doing against the law, then one need to punish. And those who are doing things that are according to the law, then one should give them the reward. So, for example, when there's a sickness, then through medicines and other treatment, we need to remove this sickness. And we need to have the strength in our body through having the right food and right diet and right supplements. So just like this, those who are doing bad things, then we need to remove it by giving punishment. Those who are doing good things, then we need to give them reward to increase, to continue their good work. And first, scolding, first the punishment. Punishment also has different kinds. So when one is giving punishment, one should give the punishment so with the right intention, with positive thought, by thinking, by giving the punishment, that person can change, that person can become a better person, and that person can stop their own bad deeds or negative deeds. So with such right intention, to improve them, to make that person better, with such intention, one should give the punishment like scolding or like that. But one should never give the death penalty, because the life is the base of all the fault and qualities. And when there's no life, then there's no action. So therefore, no matter how serious negative actions or bad things that they did, still one should never give the death penalty. One should not kill. One should never kill them. If one kills them, then one cannot make them better person, because one is killing them. So giving death penalty is not right. So one should give other penalties like scolding and others, but not the death penalty at all. No matter how serious offense that they did, still one should not give the death penalty. For example, if there's a dirt on the cloth, so to remove this cloth or to remove this dirt, if we just burn this dirt or burn this cloth, then it is not right. So to remove this dirt, we should use soap and water, etc. to remove it. So later, this cloth will again become a cloth without any dirt. So it will become a good cloth or a clean cloth again. So similarly, if someone has done bad things, then to remove this bad thing, one should give punishment so that one can remove their own negative, or one can stop their own negative, and one can make this person a good person again, like a clean person or good person again. So this is the important. If one give the death penalty, then it's like, in order to remove the dirt on the cloth, one is just burning the cloth, which is not right. So in the example, those who are washing the cloth to remove the dirt is a wise person. One who is burning the cloth to remove the dirt is not a wise person. So similarly, giving death penalty is not a wise decision. Giving us other penalty is a wise decision, so that that person can later become a good person or clean person or positive person again. And also, so this is the how to give punishment. Now, how to give the rewards. Those who have done a great job, then one should give them a great reward. And if one has done mediocre thing, then one should give mediocre reward. And if one has done a small thing, then one should give small reward. One should not give great reward to those who have done small thing, and one should not give a small reward to those who have done a great job, a great thing. For example, so this example is also given by Chogyal Phaba. Actually, in this teaching, Chogyal Phaba gave so many examples so that we can understand better. So, if we give baby food to an adult, then it is not right, because adults will not fill their stomach by eating just the baby food. And also, if we give adult food to a baby, then the baby cannot digest. So we should give the food according to their age. For baby, we should give baby food. For adult, we should give adult food. Similarly, those who have done great job, then we should give great reward and not a small reward. And those who have done small thing, then we should not give great reward. We should give small reward according to their own action. So with this, I think I will conclude my today's talk. And at the end, we should always dedicate the good actions that we have done, along with all the meritorious that we have done in the past, etc. So we should dedicate all our merits to attain Buddhahood for the sake of all the sentient beings without any exception. Thank you.